of making the Revelation 4 music, the instrumental track that you hear with Corey Russell. That's part of the Mercy Culture Worship album, Revival and Reformation Part 2. When I was first approached to be a part of this project, I was definitely surprised, but also right away just felt the weight of what this project was going to be a part of in the album as a whole. And even just with the vision in the heart of taking people from corporate encounters with God to daily personal encounters with God, and the album being part of a corporate encounter, but really releasing it for people to be able to bring into their daily personal encounters with God. It's something I don't take lightly. And so right away, I just began to pray into it. And while there were feelings of inadequacy or feelings of just maybe not feeling equipped to be able to pull off such a task, I leaned into the Lord and really felt just his presence on it. I felt a grace with it. And so said yes, jumped in, and the first piece that I worked on was this Revelations 4 track, and I invited my good friend Kelly McCarthy to come and help. And he's a very gifted musician, incredible on the keys and other instruments, and had just felt like he was the right partnership. I've worked with him in the past on certain projects, and he said yes. He came over, we sat down, we listened to the clips that were kind of cut together to tell this story, and begin to map out the journey of this piece, which it's talking about the throne room. It's talking about Revelations chapter 4, and it's such a dynamic piece. And so the first thing we really did was lock in the tempo, find then sort of the key moments where things shift. And Kelly in particular was able to just bring such clarity to, this moment. And then we used all of my instrumentation, all of my production software in my studio here to begin to find the sound palette, which really was sort of a synth-based sound. And both Kelly and I felt right away that was the direction to go in. And so we were able to start pulling patches. And that was one of the moments where it just felt like everything fell into place, was with the sound selection. It didn't feel difficult. I've spent a lot of hours, in the past creating presets and finding certain sounds. And so one of those sounds was one I called Daco Dwarf. And basically it started one way, but I put a bunch of processing on it to make this like evolving synth. And that was one of the key layers, as well as then what we have is the Stratus piano. This is an Oliver Arnold patch by Spitfire, and this really carries the majority of the piece. I felt quite strongly that was one of the sounds that needed to be in there, and then Kelly was able to just dial some of like the arpeggiator, loopy sounds and just lock that in. He was able to then like build out the progression, and then from there I really took charge of a lot of the instrumentation. We were actually able to record my piano for the big part, where you've got those big hits, and it was actually this piano here, and that just added a lot of like grit. We almost are looking for that damaged sound or that slightly off sound, which I thought it brought really well. And then one of the moments that we are really building towards is this like holy, holy, holy moment. I felt to go into sort of that percussion moment towards that, and so I built out the rhythm, which is kind of like this kick drum, but it's really just actually a heartbeat sample. And then kind of built out a slower progression, so then when it goes into the big moment, I take it sort of to double time, and then add all of this chaos and crazy stuff with like these builds and a ton of effects. morphs into this ginormous sound with the synths just climbing and just beginning to like almost yell or scream. It's one of those moments that I think, because it's kind of got that like heartbeat to it, there's a very human side of it, but then it's also a little bit celestial. There's these introductions to what is the sort of human choir or almost angelic sounds. That kind of sit in a higher space and create intrigue, as well as then these like choppy samples that kind of keep this groove. The dynamic really flows in a way kind of like a score, in that we had the roadmap of what Pastor Corey Russell is saying, but then we were able to kind of bring in all of these instrumentations and kind of create a dynamic piece that hopefully supports and tells this story, which is so powerful.
They will. They need to go be fruitful. Oh, they will. 3, 2, 1. Holy! They combust. Holy! 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 And guess what happens when holy comes from anointed eyes? Crowns start falling. Crowns start falling. Friends, come to the throne. Get your eyes open. Quit looking at lesser images. Get off of all the stuff and let your eyes get flooded with light. Are you fascinated? Are you fascinated?